Good evening, dear MRS fans. Good evening, Formula One fans, for our next race coming up on Wednesday evening, Wednesday 7:30 p.m. of UK time is MRS time. This week we had to Montreal, Canada. We had USA last week. This week, Canada. Actually, quite a good thing to move from neighbor countries to the next. But this is totally, yeah, it was drawn so totally by jeopardy how we march through the season. We will see a 18 minutes qualifying followed by a 50% race distance, what should be something around 35 laps or so. We see safety car, VSC, full rules and flags, all of that is on. Manual race start, of course. Regular corner cutting, not the strict version, but that is not the biggest issue in Canada anyway. Dynamic weather, that can be an issue. The rest of the assists depicted here, so manual start, manual gearbox, manual pit stops. The pit release assist is off. The pit assist when turning into the pit lane is off too. And maximally medium traction control. This is our track for tonight in Montreal, right at the St. Lawrence River, and lap record 1:13.0 from Valtteri Bottas, 4.3 kilometers of length. So one of the shorter tracks with only 14 turns. We will sadly not see a full grid tonight. We have one or two of our reserves active. That's Happy and Captain Infinity. They are in for the first time as reserve drivers here tonight. And to the E, Nevis Ikic was shortly promoted to full-time driver. And still only 17 drivers because we have multiple drivers who cannot be in at once. That's mostly Kantan and Ricky Kwao, who are moving from one flat to the next right now, right at the end of this month. And so they sadly couldn't make it for tonight. And there are still more drivers missing because we have two reserves, so still sadly more drivers who are out for tonight. I have a short look which name is maybe still missed, which I can recall very early. Let's have a look in the Discord group. And for the moment, let's just say this will be a very interesting race again, like it always is. And Guziga Simpa, Simon Gustafsson is another one who has checked out. He is not racing tonight further. We have one driver who left us overall. That was Sergio Vasquez after a not very promising start of the season. I'm pretty sure he expected a bit more of his abilities. He then decided to leave us, but that's okay. It's a bit sad because we of course do not want to leave anyone behind. But sometimes if the driver decides so, it just is as it is. And that is one of the effects why we are a little bit short-handed here tonight. Still 17 drivers. That is the worst starting grid we had this season. So it's a success. I would like to say that we had almost a full grid in every race, and 17 is still quite good, as we probably will be full again very soon, hopefully. So the hairpin and afterwards the start out on this very long straight, what was for quite some time one of the longest straights in the whole calendar. And yeah, I need to get in, I need to have a look up the names of our new reserve drivers. The one happy is Matt Happenstall. I hope I pronounced it correctly. For my German tongue, you would be Mr. Heppenstall. And the other one, Captain Infinity, that is Sam Clark. That is a rather easy name. I hope I know how to pronounce that correctly. And here we are in the pit lane of Montreal. We see cloudy weather, but should be dry, I think. I'm trying to search and depict some tires anywhere there in some garages. The first one to leave the pits is, I think, a Haas at the very end of the pit lane. In front of us, Ferrari and Mercedes. Everyone is heading to the track right now. The first one was this guy, Stefan Williams. I have learned how to pronounce his name. I hope I can stick to it. And as a little tradition of mine, I always stick to the first guy who goes out of the pit and have a bit of a feeling for the track, get in a bit of a look for what we are racing on here today. Williams will be the only Haas. One of the drivers who missed today is his teammate Simon Gustafsson. And yeah, the track is rather short, so one important thing of Montreal is fuel and rear tire management. So you have a lot of turns where you accelerate out, and that costs fuel, that consumes rear tires. Here we are already on the start-finish straight. That is a light bow. I need to get in some information what's going on. You have already seen he takes curbs sometimes very aggressively. That is because of the fact that we race in regular corner cut rules. He's already at the end of sector 1, one of the chicanes here, the middle sector chicane number 1, short or medium length DRS zone right here, and the next chicane coming up right here on this track that was introduced into the race calendar in 1976. So already one of the classic tracks. And he's already in sector 3. Sector 3 is actually more or less a full throttle sector, just a little bit aborted, a little bit disturbed by this one chicane. Woohoo! Very, very intensely, maybe even corner cutting. But the lap still counts. So this is the problem. Stefan Williams maybe has shown us the problems of regular corner cutting. We do not want to race in strict because we do not want our races to be decided by penalties. But okay, the lap wasn't that good. You can see that already 2 of 3 incoming times were faster than Williams's. And this is Ryan Price, who was a second faster than Williams. And Sminksna, that's Jack Rognian in the Ferrari, posting a 108.3. Everyone on the hard times thus far on softs. The medium runners, Andrew Mont and David Lawson, did not put up competitive times. Grimmo, that's Mark Goodman in P5. Now the first one with a more or less competitive time on mediums. We see another one on a hot lap, that's Jarne Vanderbril. He is trying that already on mediums. the rules say that you have... Oh no, he aborted his lap time. He expected it not to be good enough. We know the rules that if you start in the top 10, you have to start on the tire you have qualified on. And normally in Canada, it's not the biggest issue to have a two-stop race, as you cut multiple turns with the pit entry. So it is possible to have a working soft, medium, soft strategy or something like that. Red, red, yellow. Red, yellow, red or something. But still, a lot of drivers at least try their first shots on mediums. Maybe that is because some incoming weather. I have not seen the forecast yet. Let's just say, watch what Blake Gary is able to deliver us here. And he is in P5, 1.5 seconds slower than Jagger Rocknan. Where is Simo? Simo Peter Simpson on outlap yet, and he is the probably fastest driver in MRS, at least when it comes to pure lap times, to pure qualifying pace. So let's stay with him for a moment. Oh, we have seen... Who was it? One driver disqualified. That was... that was Jack Rognian who was disqualified because he blocked the pit lane. So, even though he already had a good lap... Oh, not a good lap for Simo. Yeah, Zemixna, he had a good lap, but now he is disqualified and then will be in last position. That can only mean that he spun on the exit on the very end of the pit lane. Sadly didn't see it, but a strange thing, but the last position then therefore is already given. Meanwhile, Captain Infinity's Sam Clark has pushed for P2, good lap time for him, 6/10 behind Tom Walsh. Tom Walsh, our new pole setter, at least at the moment. Simo has aborted his hot lap for a reason we all saw. He struggled there in turn 6, I think it was. Let's have a look what Dominic Walsh is doing. The big opponent of Simo in the last season. Simo, the reigning vice champion. Dominic Walsh, the reigning champion. But in this season, he did not have the biggest effect yet. Dominic Walsh is trapped in some midfield places, while our overall leader, Kantan, who is leading over Thomas Walsh by 27 points, is inactive for tonight. As I mentioned, he is moving to another flat and therefore he will lose ground, but with 7 points leading, he will still be number 1 after this race, no matter what will happen. Even if Tom Walsh wins the race, Kantan will still lead. And Dominic Walsh up into P3. Third place, second starting row. That is not too bad. Just one thing, he is over 6/10 behind his brother Tom Walsh. And speaking about Tom Walsh, we have in this season a new feature of MRS, a drivers interview series. I try to get in every driver at least twice per season and get some background information in. And right in this week on Monday, I had Thomas Walsh as one of my guests. And yeah, he tries his best to finish in front of Dominic Walsh in this season, as he couldn't last year. And we will see. I try to get some stakes in for him to manage that. Well, we've seen Dom Walsh back into the pits. Now he's fourth because Andrew Mond lunged ahead big time. Andrew Mond in P2. Solid midfield driver who was unable thus far this season to really live up to his expectations, to really get in all his talent, but now he's standing in P2, and that is quite a good lap time from him. And now we see Peter Simpson on his second hot lap after aborting the first one, while Nevis Ikic is out. He either retired because he said... No, Nevis Ikic crashed. He crashed at the end of Sector 1 in the chicane. So this will not be a problem for Peter Simpson right here, who now finishes his hot lap, and he will be in the pole position, there where he feels the most familiar with, at least in the qualifying, with a 1:08.3. Peter Simpson pushes himself into the first position with 6.5 minutes left in this session. Let's have a short rundown. We see Ryan Price, who is now in third. Stefan Williams improved his lap time too. He is now fourth. All that pushing Andrew Mond a bit backwards. Dominic Walsh is back into the midfield too. We see Mikko Caruso, the rockstar, on P6. Leonard Cam, that's Stuart McDonald, our single Scotsman, in P7. Dom Walsh then 8, Captain Infinity, Sam Clark by his name in P9. Nevis Ikic 10. Jarne Vandebrill only in 11. Let's have a look what he is doing, as he is ruled to be on a hot lap. Yeah, he just started it. 0.08 of a second his improvement in Sector 1. That's not much, but something he might be able to build on. Sector 1, you cannot win a lot there, you can just lose time. And the end of Sector 2, yes, almost half a second his improvement, and that he needs to do. That would give him a place somewhere around Andrew Mond or something. Leonard Cam, meanwhile, pushing into P3. Let's focus what the Ferrari driver is doing here through the last chicane. And Jarne Vandebrill will be in P3. Wow, a lot more of improvement. And he is not even close to Andrew Mond. He is up in third position, just barely behind Thomas Walsh. Vandebrill and Tom Walsh, former teammates in Season 1. Now, yeah, opponents. Don't want to say rivals, but at least opponents thus far this season. And who else might be on a hot lap right now? Let's have a look at one of our new reserves, Happenstall. Oh no, he's not on a hot lap anymore. He is not improving his time here. Next one who we didn't have an eye on is Mercy Man, Tom Ward. Martin Ward, I'm sorry, not Tom Ward, Martin Ward, of course. He is level after Sector 2, not on an improvement. He touched the barrier there, so his improvements will be gone by now. No one else on a hot lap right now, so we can easily stay with him as the quali takes a last little breather, and then we will enter the hectic last 3 minutes. So we are under 3 minutes. First one on a hot lap. Maybe let's have a look what Stefan Williams and Mikko Caruso is doing. Caruso already finished his final hot lap shot. A little bit earlier than expected. Caruso in third. 3.5 tenths behind the pole setter time from Simo. And what will Stefan Williams be able to do? He is sitting in P3 of our classifications at the moment. Good start of his season thus far, and he is finished maximally in P5. Little bit of improvement for him, and he is finished. Therefore his name is Gray now. So the next one we should watch is maybe Ryan Price. He is barely improving after Sector 2, not a lot of improvement. Oh, we see Mercedes who spun right in front of him. His teammate, that is Caruso. He was on an in-lap back to the pits already, so no problem for Caruso. Just causing a little bit of Mazep in yellow, and Price, he finishes his lap time in 6th fastest for the moment. 5 tenths behind Simo, a little bit more than 5 tenths. So Caruso is finished, Williams is finished, Ekic finished, and Torpedo Check is disqualified. Let's have a look at Simo. He is improving his time even further, 1.6 tenths. His improvement after Sector 2. And the last straight, the last chicane. Can the pole setter improve his time even a bit further in the end? He can, almost half a second. He pushes the limit under the 108 mark, 107.9, the new pole time. Pushing everyone except the top 6 out of a second. And Thomas Walsh just started his final hot lap. Right behind him is Jarne van der Bril. We will have a close eye on those two drivers, what their final shot will deliver us. First sector time for Tom Walsh, and he is barely improving. And Jarne van der Bril improves by a tenth. So both on a very equal level here on their last hot lap. Tom Walsh getting closer to the end of Sector 2. A lot of traffic ahead, but everyone tries to get out of the way. Thomas Walsh almost lost his improvement. Not much left for him, but maybe he has a Red Bull who tows him here right now. Jarne van der Bril didn't see his improvement after Sector 2, so this will be very close in the end. The battle for the first starting row. The pole is not at stake, but the P2 maybe. Thomas Walsh, will he improve himself? Yes, 3 tenths in the end, so he found a lot of time on the final straight, and Jarne van der Bril aborted his hot lap. That means Leonard Cam does not seem like he is fast, so that means... Oh no, that means that Andrew Mond has a late lunge forward. Late lunge, not enough for the first starting row, but still a great lap here in the end from Andrew Mond. And likewise from Dominic Walsh, but barely slower than Andrew Mond. And I think we are more or less finished. Everyone is in the pits over the checkered flag except Leonard Cam. No, Leonard Cam in the pits now too. So we are finished for the qualifying. Congratulations to our pole setter Peter Simpson, and right next to him Thomas Walsh. So there's a lot going on in the background chat. 4,300 messages. But okay, let's focus on what's important now, and that is our starting grid. Here we see Peter Simpson in the pole once again, followed by Tom Walsh. In third, great result for Andrew Mond. In fourth, Dominic Walsh. Fifth, Mikko Caruso. 6, Jarne Vanderbilt. 7, Leonard Cam. 8, Stefan Williams. P9, Captain Infinity. 10th for Pricey. 11, Blake Gary. 12, Nevis Ikic. P13 for David Lawson. P14 for Mark Goodman. 15, Mercyman. 16, then Happenstall. And 17, disqualified Zeminksna Jack Rognan. So our drivers have half a minute approximately left to load their tire strategy into the game and get some minor setup changes done in case they want to. And weather looks sunny and fair, not a cloud on the sky, so it does not look like as there would be rain threatening us, but we will see how that evolves. So, the installation lap 0 of 35. First thing we want to have an eye on is the tire strategy. We see a lot of red, of course, and then just a handful of medium runners. That is Nevis Ikic, David Lawson, and Martin Ward. We have seen a 18th driver joining in. That is a McLaren, that I can tell. But sadly, I do not see the name. That is a bit stupid. That's one of the little bugs we have in our online racing world. This is the empty cockpit of Sergio Vasquez, who is definitely not racing for tonight. I try to get it in who it was who joined there late. I hope that one of our drivers will see my message in the background chat here shortly before the installation lap ends. If not, I think it will take to the end of the race or something to find out who is the late joining McLaren. I have not no name depicted, but I got a first answer from Ryan Price. Thanks for watching on your phone. that this might be Scuba Stephen Hodgetts, who has joined in late as a reserve driver. That would be very nice to see him back active. But for the moment, let's focus on the start. The 5 red lights are on. And away we go, go, go! The race in Canada is on. Good start from Simo, I think. Camera is delayed. Here we go, good start from Simo and Tom Walsh. Then Dominic Walsh ahead of Andrew Mont. I think Mont had to go wide in the third there and loses a few positions after such a good qualifying result. We have a safety car. First safety car, very early safety car. And there has been some collision. We have the first penalties coming in. But we have no driver who is DNF'd. I think we see a slow running Martin Ward there. We see the nameless McLaren with wing damage. Yes, Ward, wing damage likewise. So it's easy to suppose that Mercyman and the probably nameless Scuba have touched here in the first or second turn or something. Yeah, it's confirmed by David Lawson. Thanks for having a look into your phone that this is Scuba, our formerly full-time driver, as we see the tire strategy presented by the Amazon Web Services. And first pit stops coming in from Len Notcam, from Dominic Walsh, Lawson, Happenstall, Rognern, Ward, Scuba, Grimo. A lot of pit action early. Oh, the McLarens have to wait. There was Leonard Cam in the pits before Scuba could be touched from his crew. New nose, new white tires. He will try to run long in the background. Lawson and Martin Ward had a double team pit stop too. I think it was Ward who had to wait until he could be worked on. But that's not that important. He will be last, okay. But then in a safety car phase, he has a chance to catch up to the field then afterwards. So we now see Martin Ward, who opted for softs. I think he started on medium, now he's running softs. Interesting, but okay. And all of that, yeah, Simo did not take care of, so in the lead everything is more or less the same. Let's have a look at the position changed. First two are the same. Then Jarne Vanderbilt, good start. +3 from the start. Caruso having a go over Andrew Mont, who went wide in turn 2, I think it was. Then Sam Clark, Stefan Williams in 7th, Ryan Price 8, Grimo 9, Ikic 10, Happenstall +5 due to all the pit stops behind him. That was Dom Walsh, Leonard Cam, Lawson, Grimo, Rocknairn, Scuba and Martin Ward then in last position, at least for the moment. So I suppose that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, even though Martin Ward is still behind a bit. But he will be behind Scuba right in a few seconds, so the queue should be intact. And therefore then, yes, there is. Race control has decided that the safety car is in this lap. And then we will finally see race. Simo does now pace the field here in the last sector. He is very familiar with such situations. Simo was part of the interview on Monday too. Very interesting to hear his opinions. The vice champion who's running on a wheel, running totally without assist, and he has picked up the pace. We are back to green, and overtaking is allowed from now on. Simo is a little bit far away of Tom Walsh. Yeah, he couldn't surprise Tom Walsh on the restart, but wasn't attacked by him either. Then Jarne van de Bril, who is more or less close to Tom Walsh, and a little bit of gap then maybe to Caruso. So it did not look like anyone was really surprised or anyone could overtake. We see a spin from Happenstall in turn, what is it? Turn 3. Oh, and he lacks a front wing. Heavy damage on Happenstall, who was one of the winners of the start, as he was able to stay out of any havoc in turn 1 and 2, but now is part of havoc in lap 4. He will need a new nose and then be in last position. Yeah, he already is. And we see Jarne van de Bril in second. What happened there? What happened there? We see a safety car again. Safety car again. Because of Tom Walsh had an accident. Tom Walsh is still running, but he had an accident. And he needs an early pit stop. And that ruins his race, at least for the moment. Such a good position. And now he is forced to turn to his crew. And Leonard Cam is likewise. Leonard Cam, where is he? No, Leonard Cam is not. Who was the second? Ah, Scuba. No, Blake Gary, that's it. Blake Gary, now I've found him. So Happenstall in 2, okay, that we knew already in advance. A bit of luck for Happenstall now that he needs new nose right when the safety car turns to the track again. Blake Gary now running on mediums. Tom Walsh opted for fresh softs for his next stint. So Simo in the lead again. I think he didn't complete one full lap as the leader. Most leading laps thus far for Bernd Mailänder in the safety car. And Jarne van de Bril has pushed up into P2. In third, then Caruso, van de Bril and Caruso, the rookies of the season in the last year. And then, very silently crawling up the field, Sam Clark, Captain Infinity, followed by Andrew Mond and Stephen Williams. Tire-wise, I think Nevis Ikic and Dom Walsh should be in a very good position. Fresh mediums with those safety car phases, they can really make their tires last long. Scuba, by the way, the only one still running on hards. Oh no, not the only one. David Lawson did so too. Those two on hards, they will try to make them last long. And let's have a look about the two given penalties. That's Lawson and Grimo. Plus 5 seconds. They will probably serve these penalties on their each next and probably final pit stop then. Safety car in this lap. The second safety car phase is about to end. And we will see the second restart, third start overall. I said it already the last time. Simo very familiar with these situations. He is pacing the field here in Sector 3. The safety car is in the pits already, and Simo has picked up the pace. Shaking off Vanderbilt a little bit, but Vanderbilt could not shake off Caruso. Here we see it. Simo ahead. Simo leads the way. Caruso close to Vanderbilt. We are riding here on the Swissman TV pod. T-Cam, how it was called earlier. And behind we see Sam Clark. And then maybe a little bit of a gap forming to Andrew Mond. Mond may not let him get away too far. Andrew Mond cannot let him sneak out of the DRS zone. And oh, what happened there? Simo committed a mistake, I would like to say, and is back to P2, and Sam Clark is out! Sam Clark is out! There is a wrecked car! He lost it! The walls are closed here in Montreal! The walls are closed! Sam Clark, one of our reserves, out early! Ah, come on! And yet the next safety car phase! Oh, this could be a very long event here tonight. Let's see who will pit this time. Haha, the first guys, first drivers. Vanderbilt, Simo, Caruso, Monster, Williams. It's gonna be hectic now in the pit lane. We see Jarane Vanderbilt, who is the first finished off. He will continue his race on mediums. New leader is now Leonard Cam. In front of Jack Rocknan, both running mediums. 6 laps for mediums, that's not very long. They can still go a lot of laps on this mediums, especially with so many safety cars. And Simo is in last position. It looks like Simo had wing damage. I couldn't depict it, didn't see it, but it looks... I assume Simo touched the barrier there somewhere, and that's why he was ranked behind Vanderbilt. So Simo is now in last position, but he is on fresh hearts. He might be able to finish the race on this compound, maybe. So from last to first, that is possible. That it could be possible. We will find out in, the next, what is it? Normally I would like to say half an hour, but if we continue with this amounts of safety cars, I would like to say maybe, until midnight. So I think that the safety car will be in this lap again. This is safety car phase number 3 in just not even 1/3 of the race. Biggest amount of safety cars I've seen was 5 in one race. And that was in Abu Dhabi, and we didn't see DRS activated until lap 20 of 28 laps or something. But yeah, I just hope that we will not break this of my records. And Lennart Cam, very long he is warming up his tires. Stuart McDonald, and now he has picked up the pace. And away we go again. The next restart, but he is under pressure from Jack Rocknan. Rocknan coming up from last position, who got disqualified in the qualifying, and now he is in a good position, right in the rear of Lennart Cam. And behind him in P3 is David Lawson, but he... Ooh, big gap from Lawson to... From Rocknan to Lawson, almost 2 seconds. And... yeah, in case we should not have any disturbing event very soon, we will then finally, after next lap, see DRS being activated. We see a yellow somewhere. Oh, it was Simo, I think. Simo? Was it Simo who has spun again? Maybe he was a bit too aggressive in some attack, and now Jack Rocknan. Is he pushing ahead over Lennart Cam? I think Lennart Cam touched the wall of champions there. There might be some... Yes, there is an end plate missing on Lennart Cam's front wing. The good old wall of champions has struck again, and the first one who was hit, or who hit the wall, was Stuart McDonald, struggling on grip, on front wing grip here in the middle sector. Good news, we are already in lap 11, so if he needs a new front wing now, he could maybe finish the race on a fresh set of hearts very soon. There, the next tag to the wall. And the bad news, we are just out of a safety car. That means he will be in last position then. And Rocknan pushes through. And here is Dominic Walsh now right behind Lennart Cam, the next one, who will try to gain an advantage over the Scotsman. Yes, Lennart Cam into the pits, gets him a fresh front wing and probably a fresh set of hearts, I would like to assume. And that makes Dominic Walsh second, and we have a safety car again. Is this possible? I do not know why. I don't see any big reason. I see Stefan Williams dropping a few positions. He has received 1 or 2 penalties here at once. First third of the race, and this is safety car phase number 4. That will mean in the end we will have 12 safety car phases, and we might not see DRS opened once in a dry race. Okay, so just that about statistics. Let's see how reality will then look like and how everything will go down. 1 pit stop here from Heppenstall. No one else in the pits, I think, but I would like to assume that those who have started on mediums... Nope. No pit stop from the medium starters. Lawson does. But Lawson is on hards. Lawson in the pits. Andrew Mond in the pits. Williams in the pits. Caruso. A lot of pit stops now. A lot more than expected. So we will see another lap of safety car here. So this time it's Jack Rocknan leading the field. I'm still a bit surprised that he didn't stop yet. Likewise to Dominic Walsh, but okay. They will have a few safety car phases left, probably. So we will see another restart probably right at the end of after this lap. Race control has decided for the 4th time that the safety car will be in this lap. Funny thing for safety car phases with only one driver who DNF'd, but okay. And this time it is Jack Rocknan who's pacing the field. As far as I know, he's our 2nd youngest driver in the group. Youngest is Blake Gary, who is still not allowed to drive a car, but already has a ton of races driven. And here we are, back to green. Jack Rocknan leading the field over Dom Walsh. Then already a big gap to Mark Goodman, who was, I think, rather surprised from the restart. Already 7.7, the 2.8 seconds, almost 3 seconds the gap to Dom Walsh. Maybe there is a bit of a problem for him. We see yellow in sector 1. Andrew Mond has dropped the position. Still yellow in sector 1, that's behind them. Already vanished. Mond against Lawson. Why is yellow in sector 1? There is Happenstall who was in trouble there, but that's okay now, finally. We see some midfield battles here. Simo is into the action. Peter Simpson. Wow, where did that come from? Camera was in a wrong angle. Did not see it coming, but Simo just ahead of both. Simo ahead of Mond, Lawson, and now Andrew Mond drops a position to Stefan Williams. Maybe. Slipstream action. No DRS yet, of course. This is the TV view from Stefan Williams. A lot of drivers ahead. Nice cutback inside against Andrew Mond, and he gets him on acceleration. But he's not done yet. Now he is. Now he had to lift and have a look. Peter Simpson. Simo has cut his way through the whole group here, overtaking everyone, like Williams, Rockstar, Lawson, everyone. And we see finally a bit of racing action. Let's have a look where action is going on as we start to find some rhythm here. Jarne Vandenbril in P6, right behind Blake Gary. He needs to stay close so that he can then eventually in the next lap open the DRS against Gary. Yellow in sector 3. That was Len, not Cam. Someone has lost a lot of positions there. No, it was Martin Ward. Didn't lose only positions, he lost some winglets of his front wing too. He will need another nose here. Yes, he does. So this is the battle for the lead. Dominic Walsh against Jagger Ognian. Both will try to make the tires last a little bit longer and then come in for one pit stop and get fresh hearts for the rest of the race, I suppose. And Dominic Walsh gets closer here with the DRS activated. Still no pit stop for those two leading drivers. Then a big gap for almost 4 seconds on Grimo and Tom Walsh, who had a good start but then lost a few positions, is fighting his way back onto the podium on softs, but already 13 laps old, but he could easily make them last in all these safety car laps then, of course. And then, yeah, the field is pretty much puzzled and shuffled, so not a lot of strategy working right now, just driver against driver and sometimes DRS trains. And behind all that, just 2 positions behind, we see Jarman de Bril chasing Nevis Ikic, the Ferrari, chasing the Alfa Romeo. Andrew Mont on his 5 laps old soft seems a bit stuck in the midfields, now even dropped the position to Andrew Price. If he wants his softs to work, he needs to get ahead. And we see the nameless Scuba, who pushed ahead of Pricey and Lawson in the background for P11. Tom Walsh here in the second DRS zone, very close to Mark Goodman. Goodman, who by the way leads the newly founded Tier 2 of MRS racing on Thursday evenings. We saw some short yellow, but already vanished. Someone's in the pits. That's Andrew Mont. Andrew Mont, such a good qualifying, but not a good first half of his race. Now Tom Walsh lost a bit of ground and is in some troubles under pressure from Nevis Ikic. But Walsh squashed off Ikic, and therefore now the Alfa Romeo is in the battle with the Ferrari. Jarne van der Bril sent on the grass there, but survived it. Did his front wing survive it too? It does. We see a VSC. Scuba dropped position. Scuba, the nameless McLaren on P14. Probably he caused this VSC. Luckily only a VSC. And pit stops. Walsh, Tom Walsh, Tom Walsh, Gary. There is Dominic Walsh. He will finish the race on a fresh set of mediums. Then we see a pit stop here from Blake Gary. No nose, just fresh tires. Yellow to yellow. Tom Walsh, yellow tires. David Lawson serving a penalty. And now we'll finish the race on hards. Scuba retired. The nameless McLaren of Stephen Hotchkiss has retired. Second DNF for the night. Very fair maneuver coming into the pits and retire there, not causing some more yellow on the track. And here we are with our leader, Jack Rognian. Let's see if he might come in now. Here's the pit entry. He does not. He does not. He wants to have one more lap on his mediums. That increases the undercut from Dom Walsh to at least a second lap. Maybe he thinks it's enough life left in his medium to make him last long enough to finish the race on softs then. Maybe this is his thought, his strategy behind his doing. Here we see the fighting group for the followers. Grimo, Ikic, Van de Brill. So, yet another lap. Does Rognan turn into the pits now? Again, not. So, I think this backs up my theory that he wants to finish the race on softs. He will lose time until then. So, we will see if... I doubt that he will be in front of Dominic Walsh then. But we will just see how everything will go down. Dominic Walsh, meanwhile, in the DRS window of Stefan Williams. Someone dropped positions. That was Nives Ikic. He has a damaged front wing, I think. Yes, there's a lot of stuff missing on his front wing, and I think he collided, or almost collided, with his teammate Dom Walsh, and almost costed him some time too. Dom Walsh, who is virtually fighting for the lead here in this race. Ryan Price now ahead of Ikic too. And Simo back in second position. Jarne van de Brill dropped 2 positions. Not a wonder with this fighting group here. Van de Brill against Caruso and Grimo. Grimo, the only one without DRS activated. Van de Brill is cautious and pulls back. And this creates this duel now. Both DRS equipped, the 2 rookies of the last season. Caruso leaves the door open, but's on the the inside lane in turn 2. But still Van de Brill gets him. Van de Brill drives around Caruso on the outside line of turn 2, and therefore is given P4 of course. Here is the onboard of Dominic Walsh, but no, I was searching for this group here. Yes, this it is. Caruso, Van de Brill, Grimo, and Van de Brill into the pits. Final pit stop for Jarne Van de Brill, and likewise for Jack Rognan, who will finish the race on softs just as expected. Let's see where he will be in the end. Dominic Walsh is already through. Have a look. Dom Walsh is far away of Zeminksna, Rognan, but he is now on the battle tire, just driving around Leonard Cam here. And yellow in sector 3, that was the hairpin. I think it was Martin Ward who spun there. Ward or Lawson, some Red Bull by the color of the little dot on the minimap. And yeah, Rognan for the moment definitely has lost the pit stop duel against Dominic Walsh. Zeminksna was the leader before each final pit stops. And now have a look, Dominic Walsh in P8 in the DRS window of Williams ahead, while Rognan is 7 seconds behind him. And final pit stop now for Mark Goodman. Yeah, but Rognan on the faster tire, so he needs these softs to work in his favor. He needs to make up ground here for the last 10 plus this laps. while Dominic Walsh is looking into maybe his first victory of the season. Yellow in sector 1 already vanished, luckily. Yeah, Dominic Walsh might look into his first victory. There he is, as we already talking about him. Chasing Stefan Williams around the circuit. Almost a little collide on the exit of the second chicane. Wheel to wheel into the hairpin. I think Walsh will be granted the S activation in just a few seconds. Right here. Yes, it is. Orlin is looking up into the sky, and therefore on this long straight it works rather easily for him to overtake the Haas of Williams. Further, Williams still in need of a pit stop, and that pushes Dominic Walsh up onto the podium, already inside the DRS window of Caruso. Caruso and Simo, I suppose they will need another pit stop. I doubt that they can make it on this set of tire till the end of the race. And then Dominic Walsh is back into the lead. Mercy man Martin Ward is out. He crashed on the start-finish straight. Oh no, Heppenstall is too far away. Heppenstall cannot depict it for us. So anyway, Mercy man is out. We see yellow in sector 1. Oh no, Mercy man didn't crash. He returned to the pits and retired there. So no crash for him. Therefore, no safety car or VSC needed. And Dominic Walsh, yeah, the return of the Alpha coming from the midfields. And I remember last season's Canada was my first race to broadcast for MRS, and to that time, there was, let's stay with this, there was Caruso spun on the exit of turn 2, and he probably already has damage, now even more to his front wing. Oh no. Mercedes number 1 throws away again a good result, just like he did in China. Maybe the front wing isn't damaged, but he still needs another pit stop. I doubt that he will be able to make it through on this set, and so he will not only lose a few points, he will lose probably all the points. Then I suppose he'll drop out of the top 10. And what's happening here? Pricey ahead of Tom Walsh. Tom Walsh in the rear of Ryan Price. And will be given DRS advantage on the long straight from now on. BWT is split here. Yeah, I wanted to speak about last year's Canada. For the moment, let's stay with this. Worked easily. The overtake from Tom Walsh, just cruised by the Mercedes of Ryan Price. Last year's Canada was my first race that I broadcasted for MRS, and it wasn't only my first race, it was Dominic Walsh's first DNF of the season. And well, we see Stefan Williams struggling on acceleration against Rocknean on the fresh softs. Williams defending hard. Williams is a good fighter, but Rocknean is dangerous. Rocknean, a dangerous driver. He does not only have by Chapati his nickname Torpedo Jack, so Williams needs to watch out. But likewise, the Torpedo needs to watch out that Williams is a hard defender. For the classic F1 fans, Stefan Williams is something like the good old Jarno Trulli, almost unovertakeable on the straight. Very close, but in the end both were able to survive, while Happenstall crashed into the wall of champions once again. Very close, very close. This will be an exciting battle for the end. Meanwhile, Simo still has not pitted. He is still running on his old mediums. I'm not sure if he can make them nurse long enough. Ooh. Have a look how close Rognan is to Williams. This is the view of the Haas. And wheel to wheel into the chicane. They touched, they collided, and Rognan lost an end plate off his left-hand side front wing. Didn't I say that Williams is hard to fight against? And that costed him an end plate and maybe costed him the race. Rognan wanted to gain positions, but now he will maybe need another pit stop and therefore will be ranked back a lot of positions and maybe even drop out of the top 10 then. Does he pit? No, he doesn't. He stays behind. Williams tries to make his tires make up for the lack of downforce. Ryan Price, late final pit stop for him. So the long straight as DRS zone and then 5 more laps to settle this duel. And the next attack coming up, Rognan on the inside through the chicane, hardly driving over the curbs, but that's the only way how you can beat a Stefan Williams, and that gets in Tom Walsh into the battle. Tom Walsh on the outside here. And he pushes through. Thomas Walsh has pushed through. Wow, what a maneuver. And Jack Rognan will shake his head. He finally made it beyond Williams just to be overtaken again then and stay just in 4th position. And now let's see how good he will be in this defend mode against Williams with the better tire. But lack of front downforce. It looks like Tom Walsh will be out of his grasp soon. Let's see how it will work on this straight. This is very, very important for Rognan to stay inside the DRS window of Tom Walsh, while Stefan Williams is out of the DRS window, is out of the 1 second window. So Rognan able to stay close to Walsh, maybe even attack him. Maybe even attack him into turn 1. He does wheel to wheel into turn 1. Better lane for Rognan in turn 2. Nevis Ikic ahead. He will be lapped soon. Tom Walsh able to defend it at least for the moment. Now in these turns it will be very hard for Rognan due to the damaged front wing. We see Grimo being overtaken by Van de Bril. Tom Walsh, oh man, there's the next crash. There's the next end plate flying off of the Ferrari front wing. Oh, he cannot survive this with that much lack of front downforce. I doubt that Rognan will be able to put up this pace long anymore. And Simo in the lead did still not pit. 21 laps when he, if he finishes the race outside, it will be something around 25 laps then on this set of mediums. That's just incredible long. And still no pit stop for Jack Rognan. There's hardly any winglet left on his left hand side, but he tries to go through on this front wing. So Rognan has lifted 2.7 seconds now, the gap on Tom Walsh. So the podium is more or less safe. That was Nebis Ekic, who was more or less standing there in the turn, just letting everyone by. And yeah, what is still going on after 4 safety car phases? The field is pretty much pulled away from each other right now, as we had some rhythm into the race now, at least in the end. We do not see any driver being in the DRS window, so maybe for the moment let's have a look at our leader, Peter Simo Simpson, and let's get in the penalty situation. Oh, that will be interesting. Wow, that will be really close. Simo has a +3, while Tom Walsh does not, and Tom Walsh is 2.9 seconds away from Simo. Can it get any more intensely? Can it get any more exciting in the end? 1.5 laps remaining. Now Dominic Walsh is barely over the 3-second barrier. If he is under the +3, he would be given the race victory. It is always tendering around this 3 seconds mark, sometimes over, sometimes under. Right now at 2.9. Just when I said it, it has swung back up over the 3 seconds mark. And all of that, I want to say that Simo is running on his old mediums. Dominic Walsh's mediums are a bunch of laps younger. Almost 1/3 younger than Simo's. And right now it looks like Simo is a little bit safe in the last lap. 3.3 seconds the gap, maybe 3.4 now. While we see a final yellow in sector 1, but that we can easily ignore now. And here for the moment now it looks like Simo is maybe even safe. I doubt to use the word safe, it's not appropriate yet. But for the moment Simo is standing at 3.3, 3.2 seconds. The long straight looked to be in favor of Dominic Walsh in the last few laps. Now it's 3 seconds, 3.0, 2.9 seconds. The gap, Simo on the long straight. One last chicane for him. Gap again over 3 seconds. For the moment, Simo is the winner of Canada. And what does Dominic Walsh do? 3.0. Dominic Walsh is behind by 42 thousandths of a second. My goodness, what a photo finish in the end. But congratulations to Peter Simpson, who has won another Grand Prix. He finished only 3 races in this season, but all of those 3 he won. But how close can it be? How close can it be? 42 thousandths ahead of Dominic Walsh. The vice champion just barely ahead of the reigning champion. And in third is Thomas Walsh. And in fourth position with this monstrously heavily wrecked front wing coming from the last starting row is Jack Rognan. And I have the honor to announce the driver of the day. And this will be really a monstrously hard decision for me. I will take that later today in the evening. It can actually only be Jack Rognan coming from the last starting row and surviving this massively damaged front wing, or Simo Peter Simpson making these last set of mediums last 25 laps, and therefore in the end winning the race just barely ahead of Dominic Walsh. Therefore he's granted a champagne shower here in the end on the podium. So here's the final result after a handful of penalties. Simo has won it just barely ahead of Dominic Walsh. In third, then Thomas Walsh. Fourth, Chad Rognian. Fifth, 10 points for Mirko Caruso, although he spun late in the race. P6 for Stefan Williams. 7 goes to Janne Vandebril. 8, Leonard Cam, who multiply led in the race. P9 for Mark Goodman. 10, Ryan Price. 11 is Blake Gary. P12 after a good qualifying, Andrew Mont after 4 pit stops. P13 then David Lawson. P14 Nevis Ikic. P15 Happenstel. 16 and the first who did not finish, Martin Ward and the nameless Scuba, and the first one who checked out, Captain Infinity Sam Clark. So, with these final pictures of Canada, we leave. This will probably be the last time we have been to Montreal on the F1 2020 game. Rumors say that the new game will be released on July the 16th. So until then, we will finish Season 2, of course. But we'll probably not return to Montreal. Next week, Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m., we will head to Suzuka in Japan. Very intense track, very classic track likewise. Until then, I wish you a very good evening and have a good time. Have a nice Easter weekend, of course. That's just around the corner. Enjoy your time with your family and yeah, stay safe, stay healthy and keep racing.